Afterwards, after I got done with San Diego Chargers, moved to LA, audited some classes at Playhouse West, and started doing some work in and around Hollywood. What was probably the most memorable commercial you had to do?
Secret Ultra Dry. You were so good to me at Procter & Gamble. That was the most memorable, but I think going to acting school and I just kind of was floating at that time. I didn't know, I was sort of raised, how do I put this without making my mom sound terrible, but just sort of like, I hope you marry well, kind of thing. And although I did all right in school, I wasn't allowed to have C's or anything below a B, or my car was taken away. I had very, very strict parents. But I was also very, very involved in dance. I spent a lot of time dancing, and that was kind of my first outlet. And so performing arts seems like a natural outlet, so to parlay into acting seemed very natural. But I think the most memorable time, that was my most memorable experience doing commercials, but working with Robert Carnegie at Playhouse West was awesome. I learned so much about work ethic, and I learned a lot of skills once you already have the job, but I didn't necessarily learn at Playhouse West how to get the job. Like if you're an aspiring actor or whatever, it's great to learn those skills, but you never really get a chance to use those skills if you're not taught how to get the job. And fortunately, I didn't have too much trouble doing that, but I don't really think there were a few times on Angel, maybe a handful of times, where I really needed to do some heavy acting, Room with a View, season 2, I think it was, or season 2, Room with a View. And I had to do some preparation for that. But most recently I did a film called Psychosis. And Psychosis, what was that?
Wasn't me. It's one of those cretins out there that didn't silence their phones.
Psychosis is a film that I just finished, it was like a year ago this month. And I had to really use what I learned at that acting school a lot. And I met Jeff Goldblum there. And I think he is single-handedly the one person responsible for my finding and falling in love with the process of acting, even the auditioning process, and not having a bunch of hang-ups about it, and actually finding the joy in auditioning, which is hard to do. Now that I'm older and bitter, it's harder to find the joy in it, but...
Well, it's not even older and bitter. Auditioning is just a grueling process to begin with, especially if it's a large call to begin with. Then you got the whittle down process and you get callbacks and the read-throughs, and you think after 3 or 4 rounds thrown that, why even bother?
Well, it's rewarding in the end, I guess.
Oh,
but
sure.
But it was easier when I started out on Buffy and Angel. When I went to the audition for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I was on a little show by Aaron Spelling called Malibu Shores, and it was for NBC, and I could feel like at episode 6, this show was not going to go any further. So my manager and agent at the time called me and said, there's a show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we want me to go out on it. Okay, I did, and then I was asked to come back and read for the producers. Well, a lot of that time, if you read for the producers, usually the studio and the network are there. And it's just a simpler process. Even for Malibu Shores, it was 2 auditions and then you got the job. Nowadays, there are so many opportunities for them to say no to you. And I'm really resentful about that. And sometimes when you test for a show, they can hold you as long as a week. And recently I just heard about Modern Family, that TV show on CBS right now, and Julie Bowen got the part. I had auditioned for that. And, there was another girl that was testing for it that goes to my same acting teacher. I guess they had like a pin in her, like, don't go away, don't sign anything, we're still deciding. And they held out on her for like a month. And I think that is lame. Like, somebody made a decision, like, this is awful.